Our story begins with a group of 13 people from different countries who were heading to Nepal to climb Mount Everest. These folks were being guided by a man named Rob, who had previously taken 19 people up Everest and brought them back down safely. All these people met up at Kathmandu Airport in Nepal on March 30th, 1996. After that, they were loaded onto a bus and taken to a hotel. There, Rob told them that Everest's peak was so high up, about as high as airplanes fly. The oxygen levels up there were pretty darn low, so their bodies might just shut down at that altitude. Rob explained that their plan was to climb Everest and get back down safely within 40 days. After this briefing, all these folks hopped into a helicopter and flew to a place called Lukla, which was 9,383 feet up. That's where their climb was going to start. Once they got there, they began their ascent and reached a place called Namche Bazaar at 12,203 feet. Government officials checked their permits there, and then they continued their journey. Moving forward, they reached their next destination, Tangboche Monastery at 12,687 feet. After getting there, they received blessings from the monks living there and kept moving forward. These people continued their journey and reached their base camp at 17,000 feet. There were lots of folks there from countries all around the world who had come to climb Everest. At this point, they met Helen, who worked for Rob's company. Helen introduced them to a local guy who was going to help them climb Everest. He'd already been to Everest's summit 3 times. After that, everyone was given rest, food, and drinks at the camp. Then they were introduced to Dr. Caroline, who told them that oxygen levels were pretty low up there, so they'd need to adapt their bodies accordingly. Rob explained that there were millions of tons of ice up there with countless ice crevasses, so deep that they had no bottom. 19 people had already lost their lives falling into these crevasses. Moving forward, these folks reached Camp 1 at 19,000 feet. There, they were told they'd need to watch out for hypothermia from now on. In this condition, their brains would stop working. If anyone experienced this problem, they should head back down immediately. Now they reached their second camp at 21,000 feet. At this altitude, everyone was starting to get short of breath. They were breathing oxygen through tubes. After spending the night at this camp, they started climbing the next morning and reached 23,000 feet. But at that time, there were pretty strong icy winds blowing, which forced them to return to base camp. That ice storm left several people's hands numb. Now, people started taking a different route that went between 2 hills. Night fell, and they set up camp to rest. The next day, these folks decided they'd take some oxygen with them. Rob told everyone to take as little gear as possible. This was their final stop before reaching Everest's summit. After this, everyone started the final climb. They were moving slowly but steadily. Everything was going okay up to this point. The weather was getting a bit rough, and Helen told Rob that the weather was going to get worse and stay bad for several days. But Rob told Helen that mountains make their own weather. If we keep getting scared like this, we'll never complete the climb. After that, they kept moving forward and reached 24,000 feet, where their last camp was set up. There were pretty strong winds and it was extremely cold, which was making everyone feel sick. Their final day had arrived when they had to climb Everest's summit. At midnight, when Rob came out of the camp to check, the weather was completely clear. So Rob woke everyone up and told them to take advantage of this opportunity to reach the summit. After that, everyone started climbing in the night itself. By 4:30 in the morning, they reached 27,600 feet, after which one guy started feeling sick. He began seeing blurry, so Rob told him to go back, but the man refused. Rob then told him to rest right there and follow them later when he felt better. The rest of the group kept moving forward. Moving ahead, they reached the South Col, but the ropes that were tied there had broken. To move forward, they needed to tie new ropes. Somehow they managed to tie the ropes and completed their climb. When they reached the top, they were super happy. It was already 2 p.m. The people who had made it to the top started descending. Now, their teammate who had been behind was still heading up because he wanted to complete Everest's summit no matter what. Rob appreciated his feelings and took him up to the summit. By then it was 4 p.m. They were already pretty late. Helen was really worried at that time because everyone was supposed to be back by 2 p.m. She tried to contact Rob but couldn't get through. On their way back down, some of his teammates started feeling sick because their oxygen had run out. Rob contacted his other teammates for oxygen, but nobody had any extra oxygen left. Just then a fierce storm started. It was a really strong storm. Rob told his teammate to wait right there while he went to get oxygen and come back, but the guy untied his rope and fell down the mountain. The remaining people were helping each other down in a line when one person's foot slipped and everyone started falling down. Some people got injured and couldn't even get up. Everyone helped each other and told everyone to keep walking because the cold was so intense that only those who kept moving would survive. It was now 3 a.m. and the storm was still pretty fierce. From the camp, they were constantly trying to contact Rob and the other team members, but nobody was responding. Then at 5 a.m., they made contact with Rob. Rob said he couldn't even move and to send help quickly or he'd die. To boost Rob's morale, they had Rob talk to his wife, hoping that talking to his wife would lift his spirits. Rob talked to his wife, and she encouraged him and told him to come back. After this, they found out that except for 4 people, everyone else had made it back to camp. The storm had calmed down below, but it was still raging up top. The team that was going to rescue Rob also had to turn back because of the storm. Rob's wife kept asking Helen about Rob. She requested Helen to save Rob or he would die. She then asked to talk to Rob, and Helen got Rob on the line. Rob's wife asked him if he was okay. Rob said, yeah, he was okay, but he didn't know for how long. He probably wouldn't get to meet his unborn daughter. The situation was such that even if they wanted to, they couldn't do anything. Then the storm calmed down and the sun came out. Just then, a guy who had been unconscious regained consciousness and somehow made it to base camp. His condition was pretty bad. He couldn't go down any further. His wife was informed about this, and she requested the American embassy in Kathmandu to bring her husband down by helicopter. After that, the man was brought down by helicopter. The remaining people also came down and returned to their homes. Rob and his teammate had died up there, and their bodies remained on Everest's peaks. So that's where our story ends. If you liked the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.